am I correct to believe like that the Holocaust and all of that was really at the center of all of that was white supremacy?
Yes.
Was the fact that Jews weren't seen to be nowhere near the
Yes.
level of what they consider to be
White.
white and supreme
Yeah.
and worth respect and value and all of these different things. And so can you tell the folks as well, what is pinkwashing?
Yeah. Yeah. Pinkwashing is basically, so Israel basically tries to make it seem like it's a kind of beacon for queer rights, and it's this like amazing place to live if you're queer. And again, it is better than some places in the world.
Just like
But
here in
queer rights,
America, but we can't
just
pretend
like
like they not trying to kill
exactly,
us every day by
exactly.
systemic violence. Yes.
Yeah, and it's worse in Israel by a significant amount because there's no gay marriage in Israel. There's no even interracial marriage. If you're a Jewish person, you want to marry a Muslim person, you have to basically go leave the country, get a marriage license, and come back. Marriage is overseen by something called the chief rabbinate, but it's a religious part of the government. So Israel again has some very very disturbing policies when it comes to basic rights for queer people and for non-Jewish people. But Israel has kind of tried to make it seem like it's this just perfect place for queer rights, and basically being like, well, support us because we support queer people. And again, it is true that you can live a life as a queer person in Israel better than some parts of the world. But to make it seem like it's great is not true at all. Again, there's literally no gay marriage. Queer
And
people are
the
oppressed.
reason why I even bring that up and to want to kind of connect that dot is to talk about again white supremacy and bring this back to white supremacy and what I think for our listeners to understand that a lot of this to understand that white people and people who are white passing Caucasian of descent, all of the different things are not necessarily the problem. The central problem is white supremacy, and it is something that affects even white people. Because if you are not okay, well, again, to the Nazis, if you didn't have blue eyes and white and weren't a certain kind of tone and blonde hair and all of that, you were not supreme. But let's take that even out into how, again, other folks who weren't of that then take on white supremacy because these are tools not of white supremacy. Because with the Holocaust, they had what they call the pink triangles, I believe, as well. Correct, is when how they were to mark queer queer folks or whatnot, and they were a part of the roundup too. They were a part of the first roundup, and they end up burning down one of the gender clinics, I believe, or getting rid of one of the gender clinics. Again, I'm speaking. I never even thought I'd know this much about all of this, but I've had to kind of get a fast education on it all to connect the dots that the root of this is white supremacy. That's the root evil of this is white supremacy. And then you have people take up the tools of white supremacy because they see that it is a system that unfortunately over centuries has had results that benefit those who participate and align with that system. And so you have a rise in anti-Semitism. So we have Houston, America, Israel, Palestine. We all have a problem. We have heard stories about the rise in anti-Semitism and seen the stories in the rise in anti-Semitism. I think also at one point some months ago we saw stories about the rise in Asian hate.